Now at 5.
Right here on WJZ.
A violent morning in Baltimore County where 2 Baltimore City police officers were shot trying to serve a warrant. I'm Mike Helgren with the investigation next.
I'm Amy Kawada at Shock Trauma with the latest on the conditions of both those officers shot on duty.
A court victory for those unemployed and filing for enhanced federal unemployment benefits. I'm Paul Gessler with the ruling, the reaction, and the next steps.
Live from Television Hill, this is WJZ News at 5.
Well, a shopping mall turned crime scene. 2 Baltimore City officers shot, the suspect dead during a violent morning at the Security Square Mall.
Those officers now recovering tonight at Shock Trauma. Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Rick Ritter.
And I'm Nicole Baker. Now, all of this started when officers were trying to serve a warrant there, and the suspect opened fire.
And that's when officers fired back, killing that suspect.
WJZ has live team coverage of this incident tonight. Amy Kawada is at Shock Trauma for us with more on the status of those injured officers. But we want to start things off with WJZ investigator Mike Helgren.
Yeah, Mike's been following this case since it happened this morning. It has new details about what went down. Mike.
Nicole and Rick, police have now identified the man who died here, and just a few moments ago they towed away a Chevy pickup truck that had bullet holes in the driver's side windshield. I want to show you what things look like right now. There still is crime tape blocking off part of the parking lot near the Macy's, and police have focused their investigation over near the Dollar Buys. That's where several of those bullet-riddled cars were located.
2 officers shot. We need ammo. Give me 2 ambos.
The shootout unfolded around 8 o'clock this morning in the parking lot of Security Square Mall near Macy's, when 2 Baltimore City police officers on the Warrant Apprehension Task Force approached a man wanted for a homicide.
It was at that time the suspect exited the vehicle and fired multiple rounds at officers.
Evidence markers litter the parking lot. People heading to the mall today told WJZ they're shocked by what happened.
People really don't feel safe coming here like they used to no more.
I'm just on my way to school, got my McDonald's, you know, nice and early, 8:30 in the morning. Then all of a sudden, it's just, wow, a lot of things just happened.
Innocent bystanders could have got hurt. Thank God no one did. But this is just too much to handle.
32-year-old suspect Justin Powell, who has a prior criminal record, was pronounced dead at a hospital 2 hours later. He was wanted on warrants for handgun possession as well as murder. Police believe he was behind the killing of Ali Hines, shot several times in the 1000 block of West Landvale Street on June 19th.
We will not allow folks to think that they're going to get away with harming people on the streets of Baltimore.
The Warrant Apprehension Task Force works with the U.S. Marshal's Office to capture fugitives across city and county lines, work that's often dangerous. In February 2020 in Northeast Baltimore, 2 officers working with the task force were shot, the suspect killed, as they served a warrant on a former corrections officer. In November 2020, a Baltimore officer on the task force shot and killed a man on North Elamont Street wanted for domestic violence. And in February of this year, a U.S. Marshal was injured trying to serve a warrant in West Baltimore. The suspect was killed.
What we saw today was exactly what officers go through. These are the most dangerous situations imaginable, but they did their job with bravery, with courage, and with professionalism.
Now, this being a mall, there are a number of cameras. Whatever they captured will also be part of this investigation. Baltimore County Police is leading that investigation. WJZ is also live at Shock Trauma. My colleague Amy Kawada has the latest on the officers' conditions. Amy.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. Baltimore police say the 2 officers are being treated here at Shock Trauma with non-life-threatening injuries. Both are in stable condition and expected to be okay. 2 officers shot on duty, now recovering.
I am deeply thankful that both the officers are alert and upbeat.
We expect both of them to survive.
Baltimore police say the injured officers with the Warrant Apprehension Task Force were rushed to Shock Trauma after 32-year-old Justin Powell fired multiple rounds in the parking lot of Security Square Mall Tuesday morning.
Building a safer Baltimore requires us to hold violent offenders accountable. Today, these officers were doing just that.
Dr. Thomas Scalia says both officers arrived at Shock Trauma in serious condition, but hospital staff were able to get them stabilized.
Both will require some therapy. The exact nature of that will be determined by the remainder of their evaluation process.
In a statement, Acting State's Attorney for Maryland, Jonathan Lenzner, said, quote, "Today is a painful reminder of the dangers that law enforcement face every day in performing their duties to keep our communities safe." Mayor Brandon Scott commending the work of the officers as they start on their path to recovery.
We want to again thank them for the work, ask you that you pray for all the families and everyone impacted by this incident.
And Baltimore Police says its Special Investigations Response Unit is now investigating this officer-involved shooting. Live at Shock Trauma, I'm Amy Kawada for WJZ.
Amy, thank you. Of course, we'll continue to stay on top of this developing story. For the latest information anytime, head over to our website, WJZ.com.
Well, we have a big update tonight. Federal unemployment benefits for Maryland residents will continue into September. That ruling down today from a Baltimore judge. WJZ is live tonight. Paul Gessler's been following this, and he hears from some of those who successfully took the governor and the Department of Labor to court, Paul, to keep these benefits flowing.
Well, they're flowing until they're set to expire in September. A judge issued a preliminary injunction ordering the state to ensure those qualifying for those federal benefits continue to get them.
It's the principle of the matter that they should have never cut this off in the first place. It's unconscionable, and I don't even understand how they sleep at night.
Furloughed hotel employee Alex Dame reacts to Tuesday morning's court victory, extending federal unemployment benefits into September.
We have received excellent news in this truly David and Goliath fight.
Goliath is Governor Hogan and labor officials who wanted to opt out of the state's involvement in the federal program, an extra $300 a week in pandemic unemployment aid.
It's my lifeline to keeping a roof over my head. It's a lifeline to putting food on the table. The bills keep coming and they keep knocking on your door.
Attorneys for the governor argued such benefits are keeping people out of the labor force.
It's not true. It's not a labor shortage. It's a lot of competition out there.
The judge pointed to Monday's testimony from the labor secretary on the additional cost to administer the federal program. He wrote that he thought the state officials were making very difficult decisions in good faith. The $65 million price tag, however, presented in Monday's hearing was the total cost for the state. The final 2 months, the judge wrote, would be only a fraction of that.
Hogan, you lost, bro.
A spokesperson for Governor Hogan concedes basically they will give it up. In a statement, Hogan's office said the lawsuit, quote, hurts small businesses, jeopardizes our economic recovery, and will cause significant job loss. Unions who won in court say the benefits are no deterrent to finding work and instead a necessity to stay afloat.
This whole thing was political and they didn't really have an economic leg to stand on, and it was just an attack on working people.
Now, the legal maneuvers are not yet finished. The attorneys represent that union for unemployed workers plans on filing a class action lawsuit on behalf of thousands of Marylanders they say are due their benefits. For now, reporting live at 5, I'm Paul Gessler for WJZ.
All right, Paul, thank you. We're turning to the weather now. We've made some new friends here. Uncomfortable, hot, and humid. They're all sticking around as the heat wave continues.
Yeah, we've definitely been getting used to it. This heat potentially becoming dangerous, though, as we take a live look outside. The sun was shining today, but some good news. Relief going to be on the way here.
We love to hear it. Meteorologist Chelsea Ingram here to tell us more.
Just hang in there, you guys. And the heat and humidity is actually sparking some showers and storms in western Maryland. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that I'll talk about in just a moment. We'll start you out with where things stand right now, temperature-wise, as we are checking in with numbers that are in the 90s. Once again, 94 degrees at BWI, Thurgood Marshall Airport. It is 92 in Annapolis. North of town, we're in the 90s as well. 90 in Bel Air, 91 degrees in Westminster. It's 91 in the district. But you factor in that combination of both heat and relative humidity, and you've got that triple-digit feel. So it feels like 100 in Baltimore. It actually feels like 104 in Bel Air, 105 in Elkton. And we've got temperatures in the triple digits, feeling like it at least anyway, even in Rock Hall. And it's places like Rock Hall and Easton where we have a heat advisory until 8 p.m. I mentioned the risk for some showers and storms, and we do have a stronger one that has developed out in western Maryland, a severe thunderstorm warning, including places like Mount Savage. This is until 5:15 p.m. We could still see a stronger storm even in around central Maryland. I'll track that potential, plus let you know when things will feel a little less humid in the full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. For now, sending it back to you.
All right, right now we are following some breaking news in Baltimore. Chopper 13 live over the scene of what we can tell so far is a heavy police presence. Let's get up to Captain Cindy Thrift with what we know. Captain Cindy.
Nicole, thank you. So right now we are on scene of the 6600 block of Ricers Town Road in northwest Baltimore. We're looking at a heavy police presence that's outside of the Giant Foods at the plaza. Baltimore City Police and Fire Department are both on the scene. Just moments ago, we did see the paramedics take a stretcher into the Giant, but right now, no official information on why they went inside. We'll be sure to keep you up to date with any information. For now, reporting live from Chopper 13, I'm Captain Cindy Thrift.
We'll check back in a little bit. Captain Cindy, thank you. On day 10 in the Capitol Gazette shooting trial, the prosecution revealed the content of some of the letters that Jared Ramos sent to a judge and the court system just before that shooting. WJZ live at 5 o'clock tonight. Avajoy Burnett, she's been following this case from the start and has more details on those letters. Avajoy.
Well, Rick, the prosecution wanted to prove that the defendant was strategic in his actions. They say he sent out a series of letters to the court system right before that mass shooting. And one of the letters said, "I told you so." By the time the Capitol Gazette was under attack on June 28, 2018, letters were simultaneously being sent to various addresses around the state. One document went to Maryland courts. Prosecutors shared it today, and the shooter wrote, "If this is how the Maryland judiciary operates, the law means nothing. You're too cowardly to confront those lies, and this is your receipt. I told you so." Jared Ramos had lost numerous lawsuits, and lawyers said he thought the whole court system was conspiring against him. In court today, the prosecution also tried to prove that the defendant has the ability to change his behavior depending on who's around him, and that he'd refused to speak with nurses who could assess his abilities, but then those same medical professionals would watch him speak with other staff members. Today's prosecution witness, a psychiatrist, determined that the defendant is criminally responsible. Defense attorneys criticized the diagnosis because the doctor never independently interviewed the defendant. Defense attorney Malcolm Ruff commented on the case.
But it also is significant that the defense has made substantial strides in trying to cut away at the veracity and the reliability of the prosecution's experts because they're saying that they haven't had the hands-on feel of dealing with this defendant and knowing what he actually is going through. And so how could that person give a reliable expert opinion?
And late this afternoon, the prosecution put up a psychiatrist who's believed to be their final witness. And this person interviewed the defendant for a total of 20 hours. And they had some truly shocking testimony in there. You could, in fact, hear a gasp in the courtroom. He said the defendant showed no remorse, and his only regret was that he didn't kill more people. We're going to have much more on this angle of the story coming up for you on WJZ at 6. Live in Annapolis, Avajoy Burnett for WJZ.
All right, Avajoy, thank you. Well, as places start opening up, several companies, they are looking for employees. So that is why the Cherry Hill community holding a job fair this week. Enterprise Community Development is hosting the event. That's Thursday from 10 to 2 at the Cherrydale Apartments Courtyard. Now, some companies there participating include the Downtown Partnership, Baltimore City Community College, United Way, and Enterprise. You do need to register in advance for this event. And of course, they ask you to dress to impress and bring copies of your resume. Well, after months of care and rehabilitation, the Maryland Zoo finally saying goodbye to one of its guests.
A juvenile Diamondback terrapin finally released back into its natural habitat. Now, this all started last fall when the Maryland Department of Natural Resources discovered the turtle actually being kept as a pet illegally. Now, the turtle was sick, then transported to the zoo for treatment.
Then just last month, she was healthy enough to go home, so the zoo and the Department of Natural Resources all came together to watch the terrapin swim back into the Chesapeake Bay, where she belongs.
That's right.
Good
Great
for
sight
her.
there. Beautiful. All right, still ahead on WJZ News at 5 o'clock.
A huge investment made in the Baltimore Recs and Parks Department. How much money and how they hope it helps, coming up on WJZ. Let's go, round two.
As mail delays continue throughout Maryland and the rest of the country, now some are testifying on Capitol Hill to try to get to the bottom of the problems. I'm Stetson Miller, and all of that story next.
I'm Natalie Brand with the states. The CDC is monitoring for a surge in COVID cases, plus why health officials say more data is needed on a potential booster shot.
All right, stay inside if you can. It's another hot and humid day. Don't miss the updated forecast coming up with meteorologist Chelsea Ingram. Well, more trouble tonight for Johnson & Johnson. The FDA now issuing a warning that their vaccine could be linked to a rare autoimmune disease.
As Natalie Brand reports for WJZ, public health experts say the benefits of the vaccine still far outweigh the risks.
The spread of the fast-moving Delta variant across the U.S. is putting increased pressure on Americans who have yet to get vaccinated.
Any variant that emerges concerns us because of
possibility that it's more transmissible. It may change the severity of illness.
The CDC is monitoring a surge in COVID cases in states across the South and West, especially in under-vaccinated areas.
A lot of the behavior that I think is driving spread of infection is people wanting it to be over and acting as if it's over, and really abandoning even the more modest precautions like mask wearing that would help.
Orange County, Florida has joined the list of places now recommending that people go back to wearing masks indoors, even if fully vaccinated.
The CDC says the current vaccines stand up to the Delta variant. The agency's advisory committee has scheduled a meeting for next week to discuss vaccine safety.
On Monday, the FDA added a new warning to Johnson & Johnson's single-dose vaccine, saying the shot may be linked to a very rare neurological disorder known as Guillain-Barré syndrome.
People with viral and bacterial infections can get an autoimmune reaction against the nerves in their body, and it happens occasionally with vaccines.
Doctors say the benefits of the J&J shot still outweigh potential risk. But as discussion turns to the potential for booster shots, U.S. health officials say more data is needed.
There's ongoing work with FDA to determine if and when and for whom booster doses would be indicated.
Pfizer met with Biden administration health officials this week to talk about preliminary booster data, and the National Institutes of Health has launched a clinical trial of its own. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
Well, we've told you before that the pandemic has only made the nation's blood shortage pretty much even worse. And now the Red Cross says it needs to collect more than 1,000 donations a day to help keep up with the demand. So the organization offering new incentives now in hopes of getting more people to roll up their sleeves. Now through the end of the month, everyone who donates is going to receive a $10 Amazon gift card. Then everyone who is entered to win free gas for an entire year and a trip for 4 to Cedar Point or Knott's Berry Farm. Now you can make that appointment right on the Red Cross website. We also have a link on our website. Just head over to WJZ.com.
No time, you can really save a life. All right, a new Circuit Courthouse now up and running in Howard County. Leaders and judges joined in for that ribbon cutting ceremony. It was this afternoon in Ellicott City. Now, the courthouse was the largest capital project in Howard County history. It replaces the 175-year-old historic courthouse, and it features a 4-story atrium, a large entryway, more office space, and a larger jury area. There are also separate hallways and escalators for detainees and a space for children. Construction started back in 2019 and was able to stay on time and on budget even throughout the pandemic. Now, you may recognize a familiar face here. Our very own Vic Carter was the master of ceremonies for this event.
Well, tonight, a huge investment into Baltimore City's Recreation and Park Department. It's going to go a long way expanding youth programs citywide. Sean Stryker live for us tonight. And Sean, the hope here is that this helps keep the youth from making bad decisions, correct?
Exactly, Rick. And we're not talking about putting in new playgrounds, new basketball courts. Yeah, they are cool. We're talking about some awesome programming, programs that are unique to Baltimore. They're designed to attract kids, hold their attention, and keep them out of trouble. With temperatures soaring, it's a perfect day for arts and crafts at Harlem Park Recreation Center.
Lots of fun. I like painting.
And now, thanks to a $1 million grant, more kids will have access to a wide variety of programming with the City Recreation and Parks Department.
We want everyone to be a part of our different 44-plus rec centers throughout the city of Baltimore.
With programs like dirt bike science, mobile journalism, even fencing, the goal is to find opportunities that attract the youth.
Because one of our goals is making sure that we're reaching every youth, regardless if you have athletic abilities or you have academic abilities or you have some special talent or skill.
The hope is by finding those specific interests and giving them a place to further explore them, that will help stop the kids from getting in trouble, in turn addressing the city's crime problem.
One of the things that we hear too much and hear too often is really with the focus in terms of how do we invest more in enforcement. There's not enough conversation about being proactive in investing in prevention.
Damon Millard is the president and CEO of the Family League of Baltimore, the organization that helped bring this grant to the city from the state.
Moving vision to action. And that's exactly what we were able to do.
Action to make sure the city's youth, the city's future, has a strong foundation to stand on. I mean, dirt bike science, how cool is that? Look, there's a list of these programs to get involved with. How did they come up with them? Well, they listen to the community, they listen to the kids, and get this, they're up and running, just waiting on you to sign up. Reporting live tonight in Baltimore, Sean Stryker for WJZ.
Very important there. Sean, thank you. Well, Kraft mac and cheese we know is a beloved side dish, right? But what about serving it as your next dessert?
I got to ask you how you feel about this. The brand partnering up, you just told me right there, Brooklyn-based ice cream company to combine two iconic comfort foods, creating what is going to be called mac and cheese flavored ice cream.
All right, Kraft says the new ice cream has no artificial flavors, no preservatives or dyes. You can order it at Van Leeuwen's website. That's tomorrow. $12 a pint while supplies last. I think supplies will last just fine. That's gross. I'm sorry.
It's not going anywhere. They're trying to trick you. It looks like orange sherbet, but no thank you.
No.
All right, still to come on WJZ News at 5 o'clock. Let's take another live look outside. It was a steamy day, but some good news, relief finally coming.
Yeah, the heat wave is here, but meteorologist Chelsea Ingle will tell us when we're getting some of that relief mentioned. That's next.